Imagine losing something small, something that seems so insignificant to others, but to you, it's everything. Now, imagine being told you'll never get it back, no matter how hard you try. This is the story of a bird who lost a grain of food, a small loss that seemed trivial to the world around her. But for the bird, it wasn't just a grain, it was a symbol of everything she had worked for. It represented survival, hope, and the effort she had invested to secure it. Frustrated, the bird flew straight to the tree that held her grain, demanding it be returned. The tree, mighty and unmoving, responded with laughter. "Why should I give you the grain? Go away." Now, think about the times in your life when you've been dismissed when your struggles seemed too small or insignificant to be taken seriously. It's in these moments of frustration that the true test of character begins. The bird, though small, wasn't going to back down. She knew the grain belonged to her, and she wasn't about to let the tree mock her efforts. She demanded again, but the tree only laughed harder. It's easy to give up when faced with rejection, to believe that the challenge is bigger than us, or that we don't stand a chance. But the bird didn't walk away defeated. Instead, she decided to take the next step, find someone who could help. She flew to the carpenter. This is the first key lesson. When faced with an obstacle, don't let rejection stop you. Step forward. Seek solutions, even when the road ahead looks uncertain. It's not about how big the challenge is, it's about your willingness to move forward despite the doubts. The carpenter looked at the bird and laughed, just like the tree had. Cut down the whole tree for a single grain? Ridiculous, he said, shaking his head. He walked away, his decision final. It's a crushing feeling when your needs or requests are mocked. But this is a universal experience we all face at one point or another. The world doesn't always recognize our struggles. People dismiss our dreams, telling us they aren't worth pursuing. In those moments, it's easy to feel small, as if we're powerless. But not the bird. She wasn't deterred. While the carpenter's rejection stung, it only made her more determined. Instead of giving up, she realized that this moment was not the end, it was simply a delay. Patience is often the hardest part of the journey. How many times have you felt like giving up when the answers weren't immediate? The bird, though small and seemingly weak, knew that her journey wasn't over. She could still fight for what was hers, it just required time and creative thinking. When faced with rejection, don't just get angry or frustrated, use it as fuel. Realize that there is always another way, even if it isn't immediately clear. The bird might not have gotten what she wanted from the carpenter, but she was learning to be patient. In patience, we find the ability to assess, regroup, and find another path forward. The bird would continue her journey, and so must we, no matter how long it takes. The bird, now more determined than ever, flew to the king. She explained her plight, hoping that the ruler, with his power and wisdom, would finally bring justice to her case. But the king, hearing the bird's complaint, scoffed. "A grain? You've come all the way here for such a small thing? This is not worth my time." The king's dismissal was the final blow. The bird had hoped that the king, with all his authority, would finally solve the problem. But once again, she was left standing alone, with no resolution. This is a turning point in the story. Sometimes, we place our hopes in the hands of those we believe have the power to change our circumstances, the influential, the powerful, the ones with authority. But what happens when even they refuse to act? What happens when our struggles are too small to be seen by the eyes of power? This is where the bird learns a valuable lesson. When the system doesn't work for you, find a new way. The bird could have chosen to give up here, but instead, she realized something important. No one else would fight her battle. It was time to take matters into her own wings. This is the moment where true strength begins to form. The bird is no longer seeking external validation or help. She's deciding to take control of her fate. And that's a powerful choice. When faced with rejection from those in power, don't give up. Sometimes the answer is not in waiting for someone to solve your problem, but in realizing that you are the key to your own solution. Frustration turned to desperation as the bird pondered what to do next. She approached the elephant handler and demanded that he help her, ordering him to make sure the king fell off his elephant. The bird's anger had reached its peak, and it seemed like nothing could calm her. But the elephant handler was wise. "I will not harm my king for such a trivial matter," he said. "This is not the way." The bird, exhausted and now seeing the futility of violence, took a moment to reconsider. Instead of causing harm, she needed to think of a smarter way to resolve this conflict. It was at this moment that she spotted an ant, tiny, insignificant to the untrained eye, but full of potential. She approached the ant and shared her frustration. "Go into the elephant's trunk and irritate him. That will solve everything." The ant paused and thought for a moment. "Why should I do this? It's too small of a problem to involve myself in," the ant replied. But then the bird, in her moment of realization, said something profound. "I can't harm the tree, the carpenter, or the king. But you, I can crush with my beak. Think carefully." The ant, now understanding the bird's determination, decided to act. It rushed to the elephant, causing enough disturbance to make the elephant move in such a way that it eventually led to the king's involvement. The ripple effect had begun. The elephant handler acted. The carpenter was summoned. The tree, realizing it was about to be destroyed, finally surrendered the grain. This was no longer about brute force or emotional outbursts. The bird had learned a valuable lesson. Small, calculated actions can create massive change. By thinking creatively and involving others, even the smallest of actions could lead to a bigger impact. The bird's journey came full circle, not because she was physically stronger than her adversaries, but because she had learned how to mobilize others, think strategically, and persist in the face of setbacks. The grain was returned, but more importantly, the bird had unlocked a powerful truth, that persistence, intelligence, and the courage to ask for help can move mountains. The bird's journey is a powerful reminder. No matter how small or weak you feel, your actions can create ripples that change the world. We often think that only the strong or powerful can overcome life's challenges, but that's not true. The bird showed us that it's not about how big you are, it's about how much heart you have and how much you're willing to fight for what you deserve. Your problems may seem small to others, but to you, they are the world. And in those moments, when the world dismisses you or mocks your struggle, remember that resilience and creativity are the true sources of strength. Your voice, your persistence, and your clever thinking can move even the largest obstacles. Never underestimate your power. Even the smallest actions, when driven by determination, can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Keep fighting, keep believing, and know that, just like the bird, you have the ability to change your world.